Greetings, everyone. This is Cassandra Floyd, also known as the Daughter of the Fates, founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. And I know y'all thought I'd fell off the planet. I don't think. I was debating about whether or not I was going to broadcast live from IG because my phone, I'm guessing because of this geomagnetic storm that we just had, has been acting janky all week. All week, all kinds of craziness going on with my phone. So, yeah, let's see. So, yeah, maybe I will try to do that, but I'll log off if it don't work. Okay. So anyway, yeah, it's been some time. I don't know, maybe 7, 8 days since the last time I did a live. Greetings, Brahmana Baba. It's good to see you. Good to see you. And I'll tell you, I knew I needed to do something today because, again, it's been a minute. People have been emailing me, seeing if I'm still alive. I appreciate the looking out. But I'll tell you, since I think it was the reading was the last thing I did. I did a reading maybe last Friday or something. I don't know. But I debated about what I was going to do today. Yeah, I'm still checking into it, Bamana Baba. You're not the first person to say that. So apparently something is happening where the notifications are not going out. And you're one of several people who've reached out and said that they've signed up for notifications and they're not getting them. So I'll look into it this week. It'll probably take a couple of days, but I don't know why that is. I can't figure out in my settings why that would be. So, I'll try to be a lot more. Thank you, Corey Williams. I appreciate the compliment. Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Corey says I might be being shadow banned. I hadn't thought about that. I didn't realize I don't have enough followers really for that to be an issue, but it may be. Who knows? So I'll look into it and see what's going on. But anyway, so again, those of you who are just tuning in, my name is Cassandra Faye Floyd, also known as the Daughter of the Fates, founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. Greetings, Lotus Flower. How you doing, boo? Yeah, I debated today about what I was going to do, like a real debate, child, like a real debate. You understand? And something that could keep me a little bit more disciplined about posting. I posted some stuff today and yesterday. I think that was more like clips from old videos. Greetings, Carlotta. How you doing, boo? The Chronicles of Sat Ra. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Yeah, I have been doing some clips for the last day or so, just trying to, at least keep content up. Clips that I thought were, significant. I'm trying to do a lot of editing. But anyway, I'm not going to do much of an intro. I made my decision about what I was going to do today. I just have a lot going on. I mean, the last maybe 2 weeks have been really interesting. I talked to you guys about it last week. Like, my eyes seeing shit different, shit just being weird, not being able to articulate what I'm experiencing. And apparently it's going around, everybody is saying damn near verbatim the same thing. And instead of trying to force, an evaluation and analysis of whatever it is that we're walking through, I'm not. I don't have the energy. I don't have the mental energy for it. I'm literally these days just kind of moving mindlessly through life. Yes, it does feel muggy. Muggy is a great word. because I don't feel like anything that I have been doing for the last two. Appreciate you, whoever sent the little cha-ching I just got. Love that. Love to hear it. Appreciate you for it. The last 2, maybe 3 weeks, everything just feels very weighty and effortful. And so I've been just like, you know what? I'm not going to force myself to try to figure out what's going on in my head and in my spirit. I don't have the energy for it. I just don't. I'm like, you know what? There are things I need to do. There are things I have to do, and I'm just going to do them. But I'm not going to be, and it's temporary. It's just for a little while. But I'm not going to be as deliberate and purposeful. I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. You know, ascension symptoms. We're being upgraded. The planet is upgrading. It feels lethargic and tiresome. We just got to push through. I'm not going to push through. I'm going to glide through. I'm a slide through. You understand what I'm saying? I'm tired of pushing. I'm tired of being effortful. Yeah, I don't know if y'all get me. I don't know if y'all rocking with me. But yeah, man, everything has been weighty and burdensome. And I don't need weighty and burdensome. I'm Black and female in America. I don't need no more weight. I don't need no more burden. I don't need no more nothing. I don't need nothing else if it is not. Thank you. Brahmana Baba says, I surrender. Yes. If it is not going to contribute to ease for me, I'm not interested. I'm not. For the time being. And I'll tell you, I flip-flop, I seesaw pretty regular. You feel me? I do that because I am crystal clear about what is happening to us. I am. I have been talking to you guys about what is happening to us and about what is coming for 4 years now. In 4 years, I have recorded on YouTube 487 videos. So I feel like that's a lot of effort. That's a lot of study. That's a lot of reading. You understand? It is. I'm crystal clear. Now, in terms of the analysis, I'm just not interested right now. Y'all know me. Eventually, I'll do that. But right now, I'm like, I don't want to think. Okay? I don't want to think. I don't want to plan. I don't want to plot. I don't want to strategize. I don't want to analyze. It's just what I'm going through. You know what I'm saying? I know it's temporary, but I got to be honest about what it is. You know, even today, something as seemingly simple as sitting down to figure out what I was going to say to you guys today, what approach I was going to take today. It shouldn't have required that much effort. Truth be told, it shouldn't have required that much energy. Child, for me to just make a decision about what I was going to get up on here and talk about. And so I have conceded is what I have done. It is temporary. It is a temporary concession, but I deserve that. I deserve ease for a change. And even if it's only momentary, I deserve that. So I said, that's what I'm going to do today. I am just going to be easy. And it's May already, y'all. It's May already. And that ain't even just May already. It's halfway through May already. I'm like, where the hell the year went? How are we in May already? How are we in May already? Like, how that happened? How that worked? You feel me? I'm going to tell y'all a story. Because this is a digression. It won't be long, but I'm going to have to tell y'all the story. Greetings, Tasha Lee. How you doing? So let me tell you what had happened last night. You feel me? I've been complaining about this for a while. I have not yet figured out the solution for this consistent complaint that I have had since December. But every other day, somebody just reaffirms for me the legitimacy of this complaint that I have. And this is my place to vent. So that's what I'm about to do. So yesterday, I had taken most of the day off, but late in the evening, I had gotten an offer to pick up a job. So I told y'all I'm working through this company right now, and it's similar to like Uber, but it's for massage therapists. You feel me? So most people pick it up as a side hustle to whatever it is they do it. You feel me? That's how I approached it. Angelica Unbound says, I'm here for story time. Yes, you are, dear. Clutch your pearls, because it's one of them. All right. So I had taken the day off, but I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get this money. So against my better judgment, something in me told me, don't go, cancel the appointment, don't do it. But I was like, let me go ahead and get this money. And I go to this house in the middle of, it's just outside of Beverly Hills. Enormous house, easily a multi-million-dollar house, right? And I go into the house and I go upstairs. This woman insisted that I come upstairs. I hate that, you know what I'm saying? But whatever. Everything about it was just like, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here. But I went ahead and did the massage. Now I told you, the company that I am currently working for, this little app, right? I told y'all 95, and I'm not exaggerating, 95% of the clients that book through this app are Jewish. Okay. Now, being Jewish in and of itself is not what I have issue with. I find it interesting. I'm like, damn, this could be a sociology project. Why is it that in a city of 3 million people, the only people booking through this app are Jewish? I'm literally saying, I've been working with this app since December. I maybe on two hands how many people are non-Jewish on this app. So I was like, that's interesting. Now, the reason that I have been complaining is right out the gate, because I started working on this app after the events of October 7th, which has elicited a certain enthusiasm and fervor, if you will, for people who were, quote, quietly Jewish to become zealots in their Jewish heritage or identification in the city. You feel me? And right out the gate, I told y'all the second week on this app, I was like, I can't do this shit. If this is what it's going to be, I cannot do it. Now, I thought it was maybe because it was December. And so, Hanukkah happens during December. And so everybody was very, in the spirit. You feel me? Every house I went to was like, just like Christmas, dashed with all the Hanukkah celebratory stuff. And I thought, okay, maybe that's what it is. It's just the season. And that's why I'm getting so many Jewish clients. That was not the case. Okay. There have been 5 occurrences that have happened since I've been on this app that are really extremely troublesome. And like I said, it's not necessarily about these people, the majority of the people being Jewish. It's the fact that so many of them are have now become very outspoken in their support of Zionism. It's like, I'm here to do massage, bitch. I'm not here because I give a damn about your political leanings or anything like that. You feel me? But what has become something that was a necessity for me, I wouldn't be doing this shit if I didn't have to. I would not be doing massage. I would not be working as a massage therapist right now if I didn't fucking have to. If I did not have to do that right now because it is a skill that I have and it's easy to maneuver while I'm looking for what I want, I would not be doing this, period. I had not been doing out calls in people's houses in 10 years. I wouldn't be doing this shit if I didn't have to. But now it's become a situation where, because of how people be trying me, deliberately trying me when I go to their homes, now I am at political odds with doing this. Now it is testing my spirit. It's testing who I am politically, what I believe spiritually, now it's become an issue because now I'm in a situation where, as a consequence of necessity, I have to do something that is completely antagonistic to what I believe spiritually and what I believe politically. That's what it's become. That's what they have made it become. So let me tell you, there have been 5 instances that have stood out that was like, okay, spirit, you understand? Like, and make no mistake, I'm doing this app out of a necessity. Does not mean that I'm not here sitting in front of this goddamn screen every day trying to figure out how to get out of this shit. Every day, even on the motherfucking weekends. Okay? Every day. Right? I worked 32 hours. I'm not exaggerating. I worked 32 hours from Saturday to Sunday. 32 hours doing this. So it's not something I would be doing if I had immediate options to, to ease up out of it, right? But these instances that have been happening are creating a certain level of desperation. You feel me? I love you too, Tanya, girl. It's good to see you. So anyway, I'm going to tell you about these other incidences, but I'm going to tell you what the hell happened last night. I already didn't want to do it. I already didn't want to go to anybody's house at 9:30 at night. I was like, it's only an hour. Let me go get the money and be up out of there. But I'll be honest, I have a hard time doing this because I don't have a fake face. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't do that. I can't do that. It's not in me. You feel me? So I'm like, hey, how you doing? When she opens the door, I'm like, hey, how you doing? She's like, okay, follow me upstairs. She's trying so hard to be so super nice and perky. How are you doing? Oh, I just going 90 miles nothing. I'm like, I'm fine. Very short, very direct. I'm fine. What are your problem areas? Give me a minute to set up. I'm very direct. I'm very short. She's trying so hard to like initiate conversation, right? I'm like, look, I'm being very short. I'm like, give me a minute, you disrobe, go position yourself on the table, whatever. We get into the massage, and about half hour in, she decides she wants to talk again. She asked me, and I'm still trying to be very, short and direct, but like not rude, right? So she asked me, like, where are you from? I hear an accent. I tell her whatever. She tells me where she's from, whatever. Now there's Jewish stuff. I already know she's Jewish when I walk in the house. I already see the things. You feel me? And it doesn't just seeing people's stuff in their house does not elicit in me, like any kind of emotional feeling. I'm just taking a mental note every time I walk into one of their houses because it's so prevalent. It's so obvious, right? So anyway, I tell her I'm from the South, and it's a very common common response that I get from people out here who swear they're so progressive. Oh my God, it must have been so racist growing up there. I'm like, I get that a lot, but honestly, it's no more racist than the shit I have experienced since I've been here in California. I said, now I love California. I said, but y'all be really tickling me with how you think you so progressive, but the racist, the right there just below the surface attitude that exists across the state, everywhere I've been to in the state. I'm like, it's not subtle to me because I know what subtle and, overt racism looks like because I grew up in the South, right? She's like, really? You've been experiencing racism here in California? I said, yes, ma'am, I have, right? You know what this woman says in response, child? In response to me saying that as a Black middle-aged woman in California experiencing racism, her response, oh my God, her response was, well, I can really relate, because I'm Jewish. And I'd even say we've had it a little worse than even you guys, especially now. I was like I was so stunned at the audacity. It takes a lot to surprise me, y'all. I was stunned at the audacity. I'm quiet. I'm like completely quiet. She was like, well, what I mean is, it's not really a safe time for Jews right now. My kids go to a Jewish school in Beverly Hills, and there are armed guards all over the campus because we're fearful that any day now somebody can come and shoot up our school. What? So she was like, and then, that's not even the punchline. That's not even the kicker. So she peeps my silence now, right? She was like, well, why are you so quiet? I said, no reason. I kept doing what I was doing. She was like, you don't agree? You don't agree? I said, I have no opinion. I'm just going to go ahead and finish what I'm doing. I tell her I'm going to go ahead and no, I'm genuinely interested. If you don't agree, I'm open to discussion. I said, I'm not open to discussion. Well, yes, I'm ethnically Jewish, but I'm not like I don't really practice. I just want a world where kindness exists. While she has hired me at 9:30 to come to her home and climb up 3 flights of stairs with my massage table to do a massage on her in her easily $3 million, $4 million house. I don't know. Talking about it's not really safe for us to be Jewish right now because we're afraid that our schools are going to get shot up any day now. By who? Who you think about to come shoot up your schools? Yo, my blood was boiling. Literally, you know how your fucking blood feels when you get into a fight and your blood literally feels acidic until you calm down? That's how I felt last night. And the first thing I'm thinking in my mind is like, why? Why do these people feel so goddamn comfortable in a presence of me, of a Black woman, to say and do this sideways ass shit? Like, do you think I'm stupid? Is that what this? How do we even get to this conversation from you asking me where the hell I'm from because you can hear an accent? You understand? That happened last night. I was so terribly outraged, offended. You understand? I was too through. I was too through. This is what you want to talk to your massage therapist about in session? And I'm gonna tell you something, and I think I might have told y'all before. I have been doing this for a long time. I've been putting my hands on human beings for a long time. And I have perfected the art of being able to, to leave my political worldviews outside the door to do what it is I have chosen to do for a living, which is help humans, right? So I started doing this shit in Florida, in redneck, red state, racist ass Florida at the height of Trump era. You feel me? And so I've always been able to navigate that shit that people, particularly white people, have been trying to like rope me into. I'd be in session with good old boys, rednecks, whatever, who would be like, yeah, I don't know about this Obama thing. And I didn't even vote for Obama, but their assumptions, because they always swear they're the smartest motherfuckers in the room. And, this Obama just trying to goat you into some shit. Like, that's not what you came here for. So I'll be quick to be like, okay, so what I need you to do is I need you to take a deep breath. And I need you for this hour or this hour and a half to focus on your own personal needs. Why is it that you came to see me? And how can I help facilitate that? To steer them away from this mission for whatever the fuck reason they be on, to try to goat me into some shit. You don't direct shit in here. I'm the one that's got you face down, disrobed. This is the power dynamic up in here. I run the room. You understand? I run this space. I own this space and control this space for the hour that you have paid me to do that. You have come to me because I have something you need that will help your life be a little bit better in the moment. So don't come in here trying to set no charms. Don't come in here trying to shift and sway the goddamn power dynamic in your favor. That ain't gonna happen. And just like last night, when she said that shit, I was like, this is not a conversation that needs to be had here. I don't have any feedback for this position you've put out. We only have 15 minutes left in your session. So let's focus on what your needs are in this. So I'm still having to be professional, even there ain't no other reason this woman, because she ain't stupid. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe 90% of people who play stupid are stupid. Do you understand? So she specifically, deliberately was trying to like goat me, right? I sat in my car because first of all, I did not want that shit to come in my house. So I drove my car, pulled over the side of the road, got out the car, just to breathe some fresh air to kind of like shake that shit off. You understand? But I was like, now, whatever lesson it is I'm supposed to be learning from this, you understand? I need it to be done. I can't be doing this shit no more. I can't believe that. I'm going to tell y'all something else that I didn't want to admit online because my spirit was so disturbed by it, so disrupted by it. I went to this woman's house. Same thing. She had decorations up though. Like she had all kind of, stuff, Star of David's everywhere and, and all the candelabra thing they do or whatever, right? There were 4 men sitting in the house. And then she hired 3 other therapists. Now with the app, you can see the face of the therapist. Now, if you couldn't, like when I just set myself up to be booked randomly, you don't see the face of the therapist unless you're deliberately looking to choose a specific therapist. You get whoever comes down the line, whoever's up in queue or whatever, right? So she didn't randomly choose 4 therapists to come to her house. 4 Black women. She chose 4 Black women to come to her house this day. She too lived in Beverly Hills. And these men are sitting on the couch and she's like, so perky, right? I am so grateful that you guys came today. And I just want to explain a little bit about why you're here. So these 4 men are staying with us presently, staying with our family. And we're so honored to have them. Whereas I already knew bullshit was coming by how she was talking. We're so honored to have them here. And, they're going to be staying with us for a while. So me and my husband thought it would be a really good idea to give them the gift of healing today. So all of these young men are soldiers who have been recently injured in combat. And I was like, oh my God. Now, the other sisters did not seem to be moved, but I'm an organizer. I'm an analyst. I'm a site. So as soon as I walk through the front door, I'm already peeping the terrain. It's only taken me about 10 seconds to say, oh, okay, this is a Jewish family. Oh, looking at the paintings, looking at the art, I peep my surroundings all the time. Where am I at? How do I get out of here if I need to? All of that. Everywhere I go. So as soon as she say, these are the 4 gentlemen you're going to be working with. And we're so honored to have them because these young men are soldiers who've recently been injured in combat. So we wanted to give them the gift of healing today. Each one of them will tell you, young ladies, what it is their injuries are and what it is they need. And so I am sick, like physically nauseous at this moment. When I took this man into the room, and he was like a mutant. This dude was 6'7". I had to ask him. I was like, how tall are you? He was like, I'm 6'7". This mutant that I took into the room, right? And he's hobbling a little. So I was like, with every client, what are your problem areas? What are your recent injuries? What are the areas I can and cannot work on, right? This dude had recently had surgery. Soldier recently entered in combat, had his foot reattached. It was completely blown off. He had to have his foot surgically reattached. So his left foot was surgically reattached, and on the back of his right leg, from the glute all the way down, was polka dotted with shrapnel. Just shrapnel everywhere, right? He was like, you can work on the area, but be really careful because you can see it's shrapnel. So I go out of the room to wash my hands, and I'm like, is there any way I can get out of here? Is there any way I can get out of here? I can't do this. This is not what I spent 10 years in medical school to do. This is not what I spent 10 years in medical school to do. To be blindly or unselectively putting my hands on anybody that is in need. That's not what I'm sorry. That's not what the fuck I went to medical school for. It's not. I didn't go to school for that. I went to medical school so I could be selective. I'm just telling you what it is. I went to school so I could be selective about who I put my hands on. And so the reason I'm dismayed and bewildered at this person that I have to put my hands on is because while the other sisters, obviously, because they weren't moved, I was moved. I was visibly moved, child, plotting. Like, can I fake an illness to get up out of here? While she talking about soldiers recently injured in combat, bitch, you know who these motherfuckers were. I was convinced of it. I am convinced of it today that they were IDF. That's who I'm convinced it was. That I was putting my hands on an Israeli Defense Force dude. That's what I'm convinced of. And if it wasn't IDF, then Armenia. But that's the only way to explain these 4 Jewish men sitting in the living room of a Jewish family talking about soldiers. We're so proud of them. We're so honored to have them in our house for some time while they're healing. These recently injured soldiers in combat. I cried the whole time. I'm not joking. It is the worst experience that I've had since I've been doing this again. I was like, do you listen? To be in the predicament that I am in, do you know I've been a pro-Palestinian activist since 2001? An active pro-Palestinian activist since 2001. To be, child, in a situation like this, some woman telling me how Jews got it worse than Black women in America? Some wealthy Jewish woman in Beverly Hills, while I am rubbing on her for $65 at 9:30 at night for her to tell me how, well, we Jews do have it a little worse than you guys, at least right now. Confidently tell me that shit last night. That happened. That happened. Or the first experience that I had, I done told y'all about it. We Jews, this is a quote verbatim after a 2-hour massage. We Jews did so much for you Black people in the 50s and 60s. I don't understand why we can't just get along. That happened. That happened. This dude 3 weeks ago hired me to do a pregnancy massage for his wife. And I came to the house and I walk in and I was like, oh, you guys just moved in? I had not even set up my table yet. I'm just making small talk. You understand? Oh, this is a really, really nice house. I see you guys just moved in. They were like, That's all I said. I ain't ask you for no additional information, but he was trying me because you swear you smarter than me. Why else would you say what you said before I put my hands on your pregnant wife? I said, oh, this is a really nice, this is a really beautiful house. I see you guys just moved. There were boxes everywhere. They were literally having to move boxes to create a space for me to set up the table. He was like, yeah, we were really lucky to get the place. Yeah, our boxes were here when we arrived. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. He was like, yeah, look at me square in my eyes. I'm telling you to see what my response was going to be. I'm telling you, right? He was like, yeah, we just got back 2 days ago from a wonderful vacation in Israel. This was 3 weeks ago. I was like, okay, so where do I need to set up? Like, why are you trying to get a rise out of me when you want me to put my hands on your pregnant wife? Energy matters. Energy matters. And so I have been putting crystals in my cleavage, crystals in my pockets, squatting up so I don't take home anybody funky ass shit. You feel me? And there are those that will go out of their way to try me, to goat me. He looked me square in my eyes as soon as he said, why do I need to know where you went on vacation? I ain't asked you that. I ain't asked you that. I ain't asked you nothing about your personal self. I ain't asked you nothing like that. I say, you got a nice house. I see you just moved in. Your response is going to be, we just got back from a wonderful vacation in Israel. I cannot recall in 20 years of putting my hands on human beings. I can't recall ever, even with redneck racists in the South, man, feeling burning, surging acidic rage in my hands while putting my hands on another human being. I can't ever recall that. I was the whole time, I'm like, why would he do that? Why would he tell me that? Why would he say that to me and look me square in my eyes to see if I was going to respond? My response was, okay, where is it that you need me to set up the table? So I can get the fuck out of here? That happened. That happened. So I made up in my mind. Something is going to give. I am not doing this for another week. Let me put it this way. By the end of May, something else will happen in my life for me to make the living I need to make without compromising my goddamn integrity, my morals, my spirituality, doing this shit. Child, I'm telling y'all, I haven't told y'all this because I have been so fucking humiliated and at odds with what I have to do at my age to make sure that I'm not out on the street out here. But I'm telling it to you now. I'm speaking it to you now. The reason that I have not been telling y'all the gravity of what has been happening on this freaking job is because it is humiliating. It's humiliating. And no human being, this is relevant. No human being on earth anywhere should ever have to compromise what they believe to secure a life for themselves, to secure housing for themselves. And that's what people in positions of power do. It's what they do. It's their intention to humiliate you. It is their intention through humiliation to attempt to subdue you. That's what it is. This will never happen to me again. From my mouth to the goddess's ear. This will never happen to me again. For me to be put in no situation to have to endure what I endured last night. Never again. From my mouth to God's ear. Now I'm done with that. But I had to tell y'all that. And I had to tell y'all that because I told y'all I have to move with ease. Because I can't think too much these days. I can't do it. I do a lot of thinking on here. I do a lot of deep analytical shit on here. This wasn't the week for it because it was all week. It was all week. I told y'all I worked 32 hours from Saturday morning to Sunday evening. I did not get home until 2 o'clock in the morning, Monday. And I mean, back to 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 back. And of all of them, only one was non-Jewish. 32 hours of massage. Only one was non-Jewish. So these microaggressions, this whole attitude, like, I'm so smart, she can't possibly understand what I'm implying. Bullshit. All weekend, child, all weekend. You understand? So now I'm like, all right. All right. Yeah, that happened. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that. That's all I got to say about that. Yes. Thank you, Monique. It's true. She says that is too much and too spiritually taxing for a person. What were you supposed to say to him? Exactly. 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 It's no different. Me, quote, working for myself as an independent contractor, working through this app, working with this particular subset of people is no different than if I was going to a job with a nasty ass boss who made it his mission to make my life miserable every day. It ain't no different. I might as well be working. I might as well be working at a corporate job somewhere, enduring the kind of shit people got to endure to secure their life there. We got to change this shit. We have to change the world in a way that people do not have to endure that kind of shit. Not just for myself. I've been on this all along. Go all the way back through the 487 videos I done posted. This is what I've been on all along. This is the world we have to create. Damn it. These motherfuckers who prop themselves up and big themselves up and overbloat their egos at the expense of human beings' sanity and shit. And I'll be honest, if you need me to be arrogant about it, there ain't a motherfucker in the last year I've put my hands on that is smarter than me. How you? Oh my God. Anyway, I'm done. So what I had decided, which is what the title implies, because I need ease. Thank you, Samara, baby. I need ease. I need something that I don't have to think about, something that I don't have to contemplate or analyze. You understand? We've been in this place before, and several of you are going to laugh when I tell you, right? We've been in this place before. But so I'm going to start reading a new book today. That is something that can keep me disciplined from day to day to create new content without having to think about what I'm creating. Without having to think about what I'm creating. I can get up on here for 1 hour straight, read y'all something, you feel me? And then go on back to doing what I'm doing. So yes. So today I chose another book. It's shorter. I did that for a reason because the last two books we read were pretty long. And I was like, I got a bunch of short books that I can read, and I can do that. You know, I can read some short books. I might do that actually. Am I going to change the title of it? No, I'm not, because I can't do that on my live stream. I was going to read The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, but I think I'm going to save that. I'm going to stick with the title, which is Beyond God the Father. Beyond God the Father. The subtitle is Towards a Philosophy of Women's Liberation by Mary Daly. Yes, yes, yes. Beyond God the Father and Toward a Philosophy of Women's Liberation by Mary Daly. That's why I said y'all was going to laugh, because the last time I chose a Mary Daly book, it was kind of the same thing. I was like, yeah, I've been talking to y'all for a few days about some really intense stuff, really deep, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, yeah, why don't I just switch it up and just go to reading the book? And then I chose Mary Daly because I was like, pure lust. That sounds like something we can get up into, you feel me? And right out the gate, she punching everybody in the jaw, snatching wigs, peeling wigs back, gut punching bitches, you feel me? So it was a necessary book, but it was interesting because that was kind of the thing that gave rise to how we got on pure lust in the first place. But this is a shorter book. This book was written several years before Pure Lust. I bought all of Mary Daly's books after we read The Great Cosmic Mother, because every single one of her books is referenced in The Great Cosmic Mother. So I was like, let me get all this reference material. You feel me? So that's what we're going to read today. We're going to begin reading today. You can see it's very short. It shouldn't take but maybe a couple of weeks, if that, to read this book, Beyond God the Father, written in 1973 by our transitioned oracle, the great magnanimous Mary Daly. So if y'all are ready, we're going to get right up into it. I'm going to read everything. Okay, so this is the preface. Angelique Unbound. You ready for this book? Y'all ready? Rodney McLeod, I missed you too. It's good to see you back up on here. Okay, the preface. This book is, in a real sense, a sequel to The Church and the Second Sex. So that's the other Mary Daly book eventually that we're going to get into. It's a sequel to The Church and the Second Sex, published in the late 60s, just before the contemporary tide of women's liberation writings burst forth. The earlier book manifested some of the anger and the ebullient hope that characterized the period immediately following the Second Vatican Council. The prospective reader will notice that essentially the same anger and the same hope are the wellsprings of this book, but that the focus has shifted and the perspective has been greatly radicalized. The transition to a wider, deeper perspective within the author's own consciousness has been dramatic, as have been the 5 years between publication dates. For women involved in liberation, these have been years of intense living on the boundary, a veritable full generation of change measured by the accelerated time flow of this age. If the transition has been dramatic, it has also had its funny side. It has been a source of amusement to friends and to myself that some of the critique of language made in this book could be applied to the earlier one. Hopefully, neither they nor I will now regress to a position of standing still or even running more slowly, which in these times would be equivalent to running backwards. Some of the footnote references in this book are to the other books and articles. Others are references to conversations with women, the best discussions I've ever had. The free-floating creativity in these discussions has outranked, in the quality of its intellectuality, most of the scholarly material I have ever read. I suspect that a great deal of this material had its source in the institutions and reasoning of women who, of course, did not receive credit and were co-signed to the customary role of having ideas stolen from them. Having been denied equal access to the realm of the printed world or the printed word, women still have primarily an oral tradition. My references to conversations are meant to be a reminder of that tradition, as well as an effort to set precedents for giving women some of the credit due to them finally. I thank Jane Raymond, Linda Barufaldi, Emily Culpepper, and Jean McRae, whose friendship, ideas, and progress of becoming are woven into the fabric of this book. For their support, I thank also my friends, especially Polly Murray, Kay Ash, Nellie Morton, Pat and Joe Green, and Mary Lowry, Ann and Irvin Cobb, Claire Hall, Helen and John Gray, Mary Lou Thompson, Betty Ferians, Francis McGillicuddy, Bill Wilson, Jim Burke, Celie and Ellie Levette. I thank Yolanda Grengary for helping me with the preparation of the manuscript. Introduction. The problem, the purpose, and the method. I want a woman's revolution like I want a lover. I lust for it. I want so much this freedom, this end to struggle and fear and lies we all exhale, that I could die just with the passionate uttering of that desire. Robin Morgan. When you are criticizing the philosophy of an epoch, do not chiefly direct your attention to those intellectual positions which its exponents feel it necessary explicitly to defend. Oh, Oh, there will be some fundamental assumptions which adherents of all the various systems within the epoch unconsciously presuppose. Such assumptions appear so obvious that people do not know what they are assuming because no other way of putting things has ever occurred to them. Oh my God, y'all. Oh my God. Here we go. Here the fuck we go. That quote is by Alfred North Whitehead. Here we go. Y'all in the room? 2 paragraphs in. The basic presuppositions of this book have been proposed in detail everywhere, or elsewhere, excuse me. I shall briefly highlight some of these ideas before proceeding to a discussion of purpose and method. In recent years have witnessed a series of crescendos in the women's movement. Women of all types, having made the psychic breakthrough to recognition of the basic sameness of our situation as women, have been initiated into the struggle for liberation of our sex from its ancient bondage. The bonding together of women into a sisterhood for liberation is becoming a widespread feature of American culture, and the movement is rapidly taking on worldwide dimensions. The bonding is born out of the shared recognition that there exists a worldwide phenomenon of sexual caste, basically the same whether one lives in Saudi Arabia or in Sweden. This planetary sexual caste system involves birth-ascribed, hierarchically ordered groups whose members have unequal access to goods, services, and prestige, and to the goods, services, and prestige, and to the physical and mental well-being. Clearly, I am not using the term caste in its most rigid sense, which would apply only to Brahmanic Indian society. I am using it in accordance with Berriman's broad description, since our language at present lacks other terms to describe systems of rigid social stratification analogous to the Indian system. It may be that the psychological root of selective nitpicking about the use of the term task to describe women's situation is a desire not to open to the insights made available by the comparison. Some rigidity overlooks the fact that language develops and changes in the course of history. The term is the most accurate available, precisely because it is strong and revealing. Many feminists have chosen to employ it. As Joe Freeman points out, caste systems are extremely difficult, although not impossible, to change. Moreover, since they are composed of interdependent units, to alter one unit is to alter all. And this is my first time reading the book. For those who have never followed me reading, every time I read a book, typically it's my first time. Every time I read a book to you, typically it's my first time reading the book, period. The exploitative sexual caste system could not be perpetuated without the consent of the victims as well as of the dominant sex, and such consent is obtained through sex role socialization, a conditioning process which begins to operate from the moment we are born, and which is enforced by most institutions. Parents, friends, teachers, textbook authors and illustrators, advertisers, those who control the mass media, toy and clothes manufacturers, professionals such as doctors and psychologists, all contribute to the socialization process. This happens through dynamics that are largely uncalculated and unconscious, yet which enforce the assumptions, attitudes, stereotypes, customs, and arrangements of sexually hierarchical society. The fact of women's low caste status has been and is disguised. It is masked, first of all, by sex role segregation. This is more subtle than spatial segregation, as in a ghetto, for it makes possible the delusion that women should be equal but different. Sexual caste is hidden also by the fact that women have various forms of derivative status as a consequence of relationships with men. That is, women have duality of status and the derivative aspect of this status. For example, as daughters and wives, divides, for example, as daughters and wives, divides us against each other, and encourages identification with patriarchal institutions which serve the interest of men at the expense of women. Finally, sexual caste is hidden by ideologies that bestow false identities upon women and men. Patriarchal religion has served to perpetuate all of these dynamics of delusion, naming them natural and bestowing its supernatural blessings upon them. The system has been advertised as according to the divine plan. The history of anti-feminism in the Judeo-Christian heritage already has been exposed. The infamous passages of the Old and New Testaments are well known. I need not allude to the misogynism of the church fathers, for example, the Tertullian, who informed women in general, quote, "You are the devil's gateway," end quote, or Augustine, who opinioned that women are not made to the image of God. I can omit reference to Thomas Aquinas and his numerous commentators and disciples who defined women as misbegotten males. I can overlook Martin Luther's remark that God created Adam Lord over all living creatures, but Eve spoiled it all. I can pass over the fact that John Knox composed a, quote, first blast of the trumpet against the monstrous regimen of women, end quote. All of this, after all, is past history. Perhaps, however, we should take just a cursory glance at more recent history. Pope Pius VII, I think that's right. Maybe that's the 12th. Pope Pius XII more or less summarized official Catholic views on women when he wrote that the, quote, "The mother who complains because a new child presses against her bosom seeking nourishment at her breast is foolish, ignorant of herself, and unhappy," end quote. In the early 1970s, the Roman Church launched all-out warfare against the international movement to repeal anti-abortion laws. Hey, Obasi in the house. Obasi being Kamara's the step and razor gorilla of the matriarchs. Okay. Launched all-out warfare against the international movement to repeal anti-abortion laws. In 1972, Pope Paul VI assumed his place as champion of, quote, true women's liberation, asserting that this does not lie in formalistic or materialistic equality with the other sex, but in the recognition of that specific thing in the feminine personality, the vocation of a woman to become a mother, end quote. Meanwhile, in other Christian churches, things have not really been that different. Theologian Karl Barth proclaimed that woman is ontologically subordinate to man as her head. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, in his famous Letters and Papers from Prison, in which he had proclaimed the attack of Christianity upon the adulthood of the world to be pointless, ignoble, and unchristian, in this very same volume insists that women should be subject to their husbands. In 1972, Episcopal Bishop C. Kilmer Myers asserted that since Jesus was male, women cannot be ordained. Some Protestant churches pride themselves upon the fact that they do ordain women, yet the percentages are revealing. The United Presbyterian Church, for example, has women ministers, but they constitute less than 1% of fully ordained ministers in that church. Theology and ethics, which are overtly and explicitly oppressive to women, are by no means confined to the past. Exclusively masculine symbolism for God, for the notion of divine incarnation in human nature, and for the human relationship to God reinforce sexual hierarchy. Tremendous damage is done, particularly in ethics, when ethicists construct one-dimensional arguments that fail to take women's experiences into account. This is evident, for example, in biased arguments concerning abortion. To summarize briefly the situation, The entire conceptual systems of theology and ethics developed under the conditions of patriarchy have been the products of males and tend to serve the interests of sexist society. To a large extent, in recent times, the role of religion in supporting the sexual caste system has been transferred to the professions of psychiatry and psychology. Feminists have pointed out that it is by no accident that Freudian theory emerged as the first wave of feminism was cresting. Oh, this was part of the counter-revolution, the male backlash. Let me read that whole part again since I keep stopping, because to a large extent, in recent times, the role of religion in supporting the sexual caste system has been transferred to the professions of psychiatry and psychology. Feminists have pointed out that it is by no accident that Freudian theory emerged as the first wave of feminism was cresting. This was part of the counter-revolution, the male backlash. Oh my God. Psychiatry and psychology have their own creeds, priesthood, spiritual counseling, rules, anathemas, and jargon. Their power of psychological intimidation is enormous. Millions who might smile at being labeled a heretic or sinful. Oh, oh shit! Hold on. God damn. Oh, well, here we go. We all the way in. Oh my God. Oh my God. Listen, y'all. She said their power of psychological intimidation is enormous. Millions who might smile at being labeled a heretic or sinful for refusing to conform to the norms of a sexist society can be cowed and kept in line by the labels of sick, neurotic, unfeminine. Together, these professions function as mother church of contemporary secular patriarchal religion, and they send missionaries everywhere. God damn. Ooh. Maybe she said the systems of psychiatry and psychology are a male backlash response to the crest of the second wave of feminism, or the first wave of feminism. Damn. If we can't use religion no more to guilt you bitches into doing the right thing, maybe we can make you think you crazy and corral your ass that way. It isn't prudent for women to see all of this. Seeing means that everything changes. The old identifications and the old securities are gone. Therefore, the ethic emerging in the women's movement is not an ethic of prudence, but one whose dominant theme is existential courage. This is the courage to see and to be in the face of the nameless anxieties that surface when a woman begins to see through the masks of sexist society and to confront the horrifying fact of her own alienation from her own authentic self. Oh, listen, that would be the point where the organ in the background playing. Okay. Oh, there are many devices available both to women and to men for refusing to see the problem of a sexual caste. One way is trivialization. One is asked, quote, are you on that subject of women again, when there are so many important problems like war and racism and pollution of the environment? Didn't we talk about this in Pure Lust? Those of you who've been joining me on the Pure Lust book club, the trivialization of issues that are peculiar to women. One would think to hear this that there is no connection between sexism and the rape of the third world, the rape of Black people, the rape of land and water. Another way of refusing to see the oppression of women is particularization. Particularization. We talked about this whole segment. For instance, one hears, quote, "Oh, that's a Catholic problem. The Catholic Church is so medieval," end quote. One would imagine, to listen to this, that there is no patriarchy anywhere else. Particularization is not uncommon among scholars who frequently miss the point of the movement's critique of patriarchy itself as a system of social arrangements and become fixated upon one element or pseudo element of feminist theory as a target for rebuttal. Come on. Come on. That is, they spend energy answering questions that women are not really asking. An example of this is the labored defense by Paul, defense of Paul by scripture scholars who would have us know that the quote real Paul was not the author of the objectionable passages against women and was not the all-time male chauvinist. From the point of view of scriptural scholarship, the distinction between the Deutero-Pauline authors and the real Paul is important, no doubt. However, the discussion is hardly central to women's concerns with the oppressiveness of patriarchal religion. The point is that for nearly 2,000 years, the passages have been used to enforce sexual hierarchy. They represent an established point of view. It is rather obscene to be more concerned with justifying an author long dead and with berating women for an alleged lack of scholarship than with the deep injustice itself that is being perpetrated by religion. The women's critique is not of a few passages, but of a universe of sexist suppositions. That's why a lot of women are so male identified. Anything south of Greenland is the South. I heard that. Another related method of refusing to see is spiritualization. This is big today. Spiritualization. That is refusal to look at concrete oppressive facts. And I go off on this a lot all the time anyway. For example, would-be pacifiers of women seem to be fond of quoting the Pauline text, which proclaims that in Christ there is neither male nor female. This invites the response that even if this were true, the fact is that everywhere else there certainly is. Moreover, given the concrete facts of social reality and given the fact that the Christ image is male, one has to ask what meaning content the passage possibly can have. What meaning content the passage can possibly have. Finally, for some people, especially academics, some people, especially academics, attempt to make the problem disappear by universalization. One frequently hears, quote, "But isn't the real problem human liberation?" The difficulty with this approach that Black people in particular are always be over the head with, right? Especially by Marxists, socialists, and Leninists, the universalization. Let's see. Oh, shoot. Okay. Let's see. But isn't the real problem human liberation? The difficulty with this approach is the first words used may be true, but when used to avoid confronting the specific problems of sexism, They are radically untruthful. The purpose of this book. It is easy then simply to not see. So overwhelming and insidious are the dynamics that function to support the sexist worldview that women are constantly tempted to wear blinders, even in the very process of confronting sexism. Then the result is co-optable reform. Then the result is co-optable reformism that nourishes the oppressive system. Listen. In the process of writing this book, I've tried to be constantly aware of this dynamic. Asked if this work is intended to be a new theology, I must point out that the expression is misleading. To describe one's work as theology or even as new theology usually means that the basic assumptions of patriarchal religion will be unchallenged and that they constitute a hidden agenda of the work. I am concerned precisely with questioning this hidden agenda. I am concerned precisely with questioning this hidden agenda that is operative even in so-called radical theology. I do not intend to apply doctrine to women's liberation. Rather, my task is to study the potential of the women's revolution to transform human consciousness and its externalizations. That is, to generate human becoming. If one must use traditional labels, my work can at least as accurately be called philosophy. Paul Tillich described himself as working on the boundary between philosophy and theology. The work of his book is not merely on the boundary between these, quote, male created disciplines, but on the boundary of both, because it speaks out of the experience of that half of the human species which has been represented in neither discipline. But if the word theology can be torn free from its usual limited and limiting context, if it can be torn free from its function of legitimizing or legitimating patriarchy, then my book can be called an effort to create theology as well as philosophy. For my purpose is to show that the women's revolution, insofar as it is true to its own essential dynamics, is an ontological spiritual revolution, pointing beyond the idolatries of sexist society and sparking creative action in and towards transcendence. The becoming of women implies universal human becoming. Come on in the room, Mary. It has everything to do with the search for ultimate meaning and reality, which some would call God. Women have been extra environmentals in human society. We have been foreigners, not only to the fortress of political power, but also to those citadels in which thought processes have been spun out, creating a net of meaning to capture reality. In a sexist world, symbol systems and conceptual apparatuses have been male creations. These do not reflect the experience of women, but rather function to falsify our own self-image and experiences. Women have often resolved the problems this situation raises by simply not seeing the situation. Hold on just a second. Let's see. Okay. I'm expecting someone, so I have to pay attention to those. Let's see. Women have often resolved the problems this situation raises by simply not seeing the situation. That is, we have screened out experience and responded only to the questions considered meaningful and licit within the boundaries of prevailing thought structures which reflect sexist social structures. As Simone de Beauvoir sadly notes, women who have perceived the reality of sexual oppression usually have exhausted themselves in breaking through to discovery of their own humanity, with little energy left for constructing their own interpretation of the universe. Therefore, the various ideological constructs cannot be imagined to reflect a balanced or adequate vision. Instead, they distort reality and destroy human potential. Yes, female and male. Come on, y'all. What is required of women at this point in history, 1983, when the book was written, is a firm and deep refusal to limit our perspectives, questioning, and creativity to any of the preconceived patterns of male dominated culture. When the positive products of our emerging awareness and creativity express dimensions of the search for ultimate meaning, they can indeed be called both philosophical and theological, but in the sense of pointing beyond the God of patriarchal philosophy and religion. The problem of method. The question arises, therefore, of the method I propose to use in this book in dealing with questions of religious symbols and concepts and with ethical problems. I will begin my description with some indications of what my method is not. First of all, it obviously is not that of a charismatic theology, which supposes some unique and changeless revelation peculiar to Christianity or to any religion. Neither is my approach that of disinterested observer who claims to have an objective knowledge about reality, nor is it an attempt to correlate with the existing cultural situation certain eternal truths which are presumed to have been captured as adequately as possible in a fixed and limited set of symbols. None of these approaches can express the revolutionary potential of women's liberation for challenging the forms in which consciousness incarnates itself and for changing consciousness. The method that is required is not one of correlation, but of liberation. Even the term method must be interpreted and, in fact, wrenched out of its usual semantic field. For the emerging creativity, my God. My God. Listen. Even the term method must be reinterpreted and, in fact, wrenched out of its usual semantic field, for the emerging creativity in women is by no means a merely cerebral process. In order to understand the implications of this process, it is necessary to grasp the fundamental fact that women have had the power of naming stolen from us. We have not been free to use our own power to name ourselves, the world, or God. The old naming was not the product of dialogue, a fact inadvertently admitted in the Genesis story of Adam's naming the animals and the woman. Women are now realizing that the universal imposing of names by men has been false because partial. That is, inadequate words have been taken as adequate. In this respect, though with a different slant, the new woman consciousness is in accord with the view of Josiah Royce that is impossible to consider any term apart from its relations to the whole. To exist humanly is to name the self, the world, and God. The method of the evolving spiritual consciousness of women is nothing less than this beginning to speak humanly, a reclaiming. Yes, come on in with the change. Love that. Love that. Let's see. To exist humanly is to name the self, the world, and God. The method of the evolving spiritual consciousness of women is nothing less than this beginning to speak humanly, a reclaiming of the right to name. The liberation of language is rooted in the liberation of ourselves. Woo! Whoa. You. It would be a mistake to imagine that the new speech of women can be equated simply with women speaking men's words. What is happening is that women are really hearing ourselves and each other, and out of this supportive hearing emerge new words. This is not to say necessarily that an entirely different set of words is coming into being full blown in a material sense. That it, coming into being in a material sense. That is, different sounds or combinations of letters on paper. Rather, words which, materially speaking, are identical with the old become new in a semantic context that arises from qualitatively new experiences. The word exodus, as applied to the community of women that is now emerging, exemplifies this phenomenon. The word's meaning is stripped of its patriarchal biblical context, while at the same time speaking to and beyond that context. So, also, the word sisterhood no longer means a subordinate mini brotherhood, but an authentic bonding of women on a wide scale for our own liberation. Okay. Moreover, this liberation of language from its old context implies a breakthrough to new semantic fields. The new context has its source and its verification in the rising consciousness of women, have ourselves, and of our situation. Since this consciousness contradicts the established sense of reality, which is reflected in the prevailing social and linguistic structures, its verbal expressions sometimes involve apparent contradictions. The words of women's becoming function in such a way that they raise questions and problems and at the same time give clues to the resolution of those problems. A number of examples of this naming process can be found in this book. Occasionally, such expressions may be deliberately transitional. When, for example, I have spoken of the sisterhood of man, the result has been a sense of contradiction and a jarring of images. Intellectually, everyone knows that man is a generic term. However, in the view of the fact that we live in a world in which full humanity is attributed only to males, and in the view of the significant fact that man also means male, the term does not come through as truly generic. For this reason, many feminists would like to erase the spacious generic term man from the language, and rightly so. What sisterhood of man does is to give a generic weight to sisterhood, which the term has never before been called upon to bear. Which the name has never been called upon to bear. Right? Let's see. At the same time, it emasculates the pseudo-generic man. The expression then raises the problem of a sexually oppressive world, and it signals other possibilities. I would not use the pseudo-generic man in any other kind of context than this contradictory problematic setting. The point is not to legitimate the use of man for the human species, but to point to the necessity of the death of this false word, its elimination from our language. The method of liberation then involves a castrating of language and images that reflect and perpetuate the structures of a sexist world. It castrates precisely in the sense of cutting away the phallocentric value system imposed by patriarchy, in its subtle as well as in its more manifest expressions. As aliens in a man's world who are now rising up to name, that is, to create our own world, women are beginning to recognize that the value system that has been thrust upon us by the various cultural institutions of patriarchy has amounted to a kind of gang rape of our minds as well as our bodies. Whoa. Whoa. Feminists are accustomed to enduring such labels as castrating females. Some have rightly retorted that if to castrate essentially means to deprive of power, potency, creativity, ability to communicate, then indeed it is women who have been castrated by a sexist society. However, I would push the analysis a bit further. It is also true that men are castrated by such a social system in which destructive competitiveness, I'm assuming, in which destructive competitiveness treats men who are low on the totem pole, i.e. Black males, poor males, non-competitive males, third world males, etc., like women. Yet all of these can still look down upon the primordially castrated beings, women. Now these primordial eunuchs are rising up to castrate not people, but the system that castrates. That great godfather of us all, which indulges senselessly and universally in the politics of rape. The cutting away of this phallocentric value system in its various incarnations amounts also to a kind of exorcism that essentially must be done by women who are in a position to experience the demonic destructiveness of the superphallic society in our own being. Woo! The machismo ethos that has the human psyche in its grips creates a web of projections, introjections, and self-fulfilling prophecies. God damn. It fosters a basic alienation within the psyche, a failure to lay claim to that part of the psyche that is projected onto the other. It is essentially demonic in that it cuts off the power of human becoming. I'm gonna have to stop there because any second now, this woman that's coming to see me is gonna be here, and I don't want to keep being distracted. So there you go. Oh, okay, Mother Phoenix Vision, just subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. Let's see. Brahmana Baba says social arrangements of women is a construct of patriarchal control, and it is exhausting. Yes. Okay, so for those of you who are tuning in late, we have been reading a new book. Yes, because that's what I feel like doing. This book is by Mary Daly. It is called Beyond God the Father and Towards a Philosophy of Women's Liberation by Mary Daly. Beyond God the Father and Towards a Philosophy of Women's Liberation. For those who are new to my channel, we read pretty recently a book by Mary Daly called Pure Lust. You can see that whole book. You can hear that whole book in my folders. It is called Pure Lust. And also check out the other books that I've read. The other books that I've read on my YouTube channel, they are separated out as folder title names. So like we did one by Bell Hooks called The Female Communion, The Female Search for Love. We did The Alchemist, several others. So check out those folders. They have all the books that I'm reading or have read. If you have not already become a member of my YouTube channel, please consider doing that. My YouTube channel is at DaughterOfTheFates, at DaughterOfTheFates. That's Fates, Fates, at DaughterOfTheFates. If you're interested in getting a reading or a complete wellness consultation, email me at releaseheartcenter@gmail.com, releaseheartcenter@gmail.com. And that is all I have for y'all this evening. My name is Cassandra Faye Floyd, also known as the Daughter of the Fates, founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence, and I will be back tomorrow. I'll let you know what time, but I'll be back tomorrow with the continued reading of Beyond God the Father. Okay? Good night. Thanks, everybody that tuned in. I appreciate y'all. I saw all y'all good comments. Yup. Thank you so much. Peace.